Should dancers rely on ideal weight charts?
I'm Rachel Fine, registered dietitian nutritionist and founder of To The Point Nutrition. A dancer's performance is a direct result of hard work and motivation. So where does food fit into this? There's a lot of myths and a ton of antiquated ideals, and I'm here to dispel those.
Hi, I'm Rachel Fine. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist helping dancers just like you rebuild their relationships not only with food, but also with their bodies. And it brings me to today's topic, the topic of ideal weight charts. Unfortunately, some ballet schools still rely on charting systems to assess their dancers' body weights and heights and proportions. These assessments, believe it or not, are often used to determine performance potential. However, these systems are also extremely outdated, harmful, inaccurate, lack evidential data, and most importantly, very harmful to dancers and not reflective of their capabilities. Is there even an ideal weight for a dancer? No. Well, let me redefine it for you. A dancer's ideal weight, or their best body, is defined by one that can be maintained without having to rely on restrictive eating patterns or exhaustive exercise routines. In other words, it can be maintained without dieting and without over-exercising. So why are ideal body weight charts super harmful to dancers? Well, for starters, dancers have a 3 times higher risk when compared to the general population for struggling with an eating disorder. And attempting to control or micromanage one's food choices in hopes to control and micromanage one's weight and body size leads them on a battle against biology. This is because a dancer's set point weight, or the weight at which their body functions both metabolically and physically, is genetically predetermined. I want you to understand this topic. I've discussed it previously in a video and in a blog post, so I'm going to share some links in the show notes. What's important to know is that weight loss methods and encouragement to attain an ideal feeds into a culture of systemic oppression and weight bias. Now, one of the most common questions that comes up, especially around conversations of weight charts, is partnering, because some feel that in order to partner, you have to maintain a certain weight for your partner to lift you. But that's a misconception, because partnering is a two-way highway. Ultimately, partners rely on our strengths and ability to transfer weight symbiotically. A dancer's body weight is a very small fraction within this equation. Also, a dancer who's maintaining a weight that is far below their set point weight will risk injury, will risk the inability to gain the strength needed for those weight transfers, needed for that level of elite dancing, and ultimately impair their ability to both perform and partner. What about audition weight requirements? This is another big question I get, and I just want to share that this is a major red flag, reflective of where you're auditioning. As a dancer, your ability to transcend an audience with your artistry. This is way more informative of your dancing capabilities than a number on the scale. Variations in body composition make a number like body weight incredibly unreliable for a population like dancers. Studios and companies, if they want their dancers to flourish for the long term, they shouldn't be asking you for your body weight. Your set point weight is a range. This is a range in which your body feels most comfortable. It can function both at the metabolic and physical level. And it's nearly impossible for anyone, even a clinician like myself, to identify your individual and best set point weight. It often takes a journey, many years, for your body to get to a place where it settles at. And this doesn't actually happen until well into adulthood. And even in those years, body weights can fluctuate greatly over time. And while we cannot identify an exact number, what we can do is build what I call the healthy dancer body of evidence to identify and recognize classic signs that might indicate whether you are or aren't within your healthier set point weight range. A couple of prompts to consider. Are you able to recognize hunger cues generally throughout the day? Now realize for many dancers, hunger cues can become very unreliable just because of the nature of a busy and active schedule. Aside from that, generally, are you able to recognize natural ebbs and flows in your hunger? If you are experiencing extremes in your hunger and fullness, going from feelings of being hangry or extreme levels of hunger to ultimately feeling extremely overfull, this can be a sign that you are not quite at your set point weight, but rather trying to maintain a weight that is below your set point. Are you consistently skipping meals or snacks, or trying to follow very obsessively and I quote clean lifestyle patterns? These can also be signs of being below your set point weight. Is the body scale dictating how you eat in a day-to-day? So are you relying on that number to tell you whether or not you should eat certain foods or a certain amount of food? That's another red flag. I have a bunch more red flags on my blog. As I mentioned earlier, I will share a link in the show notes so you can read them. Now, once you've overcome some of those unfortunate realities of the dance industry, you might be wondering how you can best get back to a more supportive and healthy set point weight range. When you're at that weight, you are often feeling, recognizing, and honoring your hunger cues. You're also honoring a practical eating routine for those busy dance days. You're not feeling the need to micromanage a number on the scale. You're leaving most meals feeling comfortably full, energized, and satisfied until your next opportunity to eat. Overall, your eating patterns no longer feel obsessive or compulsive. You are not struggling with overwhelming food thoughts throughout the day, and you're feeling more ease at meal times. To do this, what's paramount is knowing how to eat enough throughout your day, and working with a registered dietitian nutritionist is often recommended to help you identify this. Flexible meal timing can be super helpful. Planning ahead, bringing meals and snacks with you to the studio is often encouraged. Learning to practice body attunement is incredibly important, and in this work, we are often ditching the scale. There are some exceptions for dancers who do need to restore lost body weight, but in these instances, it's best to work alongside a clinical team like a registered dietitian nutritionist, a medical provider, pediatrician, and even a mental health practitioner. You are also doing the work of challenging food rules and, of course, challenging body biases. All of this we do in The Healthy Dancer. That program that I offer to all dancers, I'll share a link in the show notes because you can start today. And in conclusion, how are we redefining that ideal dancer's body? Well, not only is this individual work important, but so is the work on a more systematic level. We want to encourage shifting the industry, providing safe opportunities for all dancers, reassessing our personal biases, exploring diversity both on stage and even down to our social media feeds. And you can also always do the work of dismantling dancer diet culture, identifying behaviors and thought patterns that become unhelpful and relearning those that are actually helpful. As I mentioned, this is everything that I do within my program, The Healthy Dancer. I will share a link in the show notes because I would encourage, if you are struggling with any of the instances that I spoke about in this video, you sign up and get started today. You can actually start for free, no commitment necessary. We can begin to unlearn those unsupportive food and body ideals and start to relearn what will actually help you in your performance. Until next time, I'll talk to you soon.